Hi, 605 and 606. Obviously, this is your teacher, Miss Reynolds. We are trying out YouTube today for the first time to go over some of the key concepts that we're going to learn about this week. The point of this is to watch this video at home, drop a comment below about a couple of things that you really thought were important about the video and some things that you would like to keep in mind for this coming week. If you find it helpful, maybe taking some notes would be a good idea as well. So the first thing that we're going to do is go over our vocabulary words for this week. The first word for this week is reasoning. Reasoning is defined as having the ability to think in a logical way. So like in math class, when you read a problem out loud, or you're working on a paper, and it asks you to explain your reasoning. So if you say that 4 times 3 is 12, your reasoning is you explaining how you arrived at that answer, which is something that we do a lot in our class as well using CSET. Another word for this week is drawbacks. Drawbacks are problems or disadvantages. You could also think of this as like pros and cons. So a drawback would be kind of like a con or a negative side to things. The next word is data. Data are facts, figures, and other kinds of information. So when you guys take your STAR test, and after you take your test, we look at the data to see how everybody did on their assessment. That would be an example of data. Your next word is counterpoint. It is an opposing or disagreeing point of view. So when we did our debates on the Bill of Rights, or when we did our mock trial about the students that wore the armbands to protest the war, we had 2 lawyers and they were on opposing sides. That would be an example of a counterpoint, would be disagreeing with somebody else. Your next word is cite. When you cite something, you mention it as proof or evidence. So when you are doing CSET and I tell you for evidence, you need to go back in the story to find a piece of evidence to support your answer. And I tell you, you can copy that sentence word for word. You are citing the story when you do that. Your next word is advance. When you advance, you move forward or make progress. Like so many of you have already, from the start of the year to now, your skills learning our 5th grade work have advanced. Your last word is analysis. An analysis is a careful examination or study of something. So when we look at the cases, like when we looked at the Tinker versus Des Moines case, we looked at all the facts of the case, we analyzed, and then we did a mock trial where our lawyers argued, and then you guys analyzed the facts that were given in the case, and then you voted. So those are your vocabulary words for this week. Our genre for this week is informational text, but specifically persuasive articles. Persuasive articles are articles that you read that argue a particular point. They are primarily factual based, so they have a lot of facts, but the author clearly feels one way or the other. So for example, if there might be a story where they're talking about if cell phones are good for us. So the author might argue their viewpoint by saying that the article or that cell phones are not good for you. And they might have a lot of research to show that. So the author is trying to persuade you to believe something else in their article, which is where we get the term persuasive article. Also, for this week, our comprehension strategy is author's point of view. Kind of like what we just talked about with persuasive article, your author's point of view is when the author has a deciding standpoint on how they feel. So while you read the stories for this week, you're going to have to determine what did the author really believe about this topic. So If you have any questions, you can drop a comment below. I'll feel free to comment back. Take some notes. If you need to rewatch this, that's fine. Drop a comment below on some things that you think were really important about what we talked about. When you come into school on Monday, we are going right into small groups. So make sure you have a really solid understanding of what we've talked about. And I will see you on Monday. Bye.